So Paper Mario, the Origami King, the newest installment in the Paper Mario franchise. I'm a big fan of this series. You know, I played the N64 version, the GameCube version, which is 1,000-Year Door, which is just a masterpiece of a game. And when Nintendo stealth dropped this a couple months ago on Twitter, they were like, hey, there's going to be a new Paper Mario game on Switch. I was like, wow, they just nonchalantly just threw it out there when I just totally lost it. I was looking forward to it. I was counting the days. And also, let's be honest, it's been a bit of a drought with Nintendo when it comes to these first party games coming out. So I needed something and I needed that fix. So is Paper Mario the Origami King that fix? Let's start the review. Paper Mario and the Origami King starts off with Mario and Luigi, the brothers Mario, who are headed out to Princess Peach's castle, and as usual when they arrive, something's not quite right. Everybody's missing. After some quick events that lead to them being separated and Mario being captured, Mario runs into King Olly, who's an origami person that declares war on the Mushroom Kingdom by turning everyone into folded soldiers. He even runs off with the castle itself, and it's up to Mario to once again save the day alongside his sister Olivia, who accompanies Mario on his journey. This version of Paper Mario does not play like a traditional RPG. While it does have light RPG elements, it places an emphasis more on 3D action platforming than anything. For fans of 1,000-Year Door, you might be a bit upset and let down that it's not as robust on the level up system, and badges are also long gone for upgrading your characters. Paper Mario on Switch focuses more on exploration, story, and a more casual formulaic gameplay than a lot of its predecessors, and to be honest, I don't think that's such a bad thing. But I'll touch on this a bit more later on in today's review. Let's talk about what else is new. It wouldn't be a Nintendo game if they didn't somehow put motion controls, and these are used to control the elemental powers you get after defeating bosses and open up certain parts of the world once you get them. Luckily, the motion controls are not forced in and are often only used in these quick puzzle solving situations and the boss fights. The best part of them, you could turn them off completely. So if you're like me and don't care for the gimmicks, you'll be pleased to know that. Another new gameplay mechanic is the introduction of the confetti bag, which is used to cover up holes from the ground, walls, trees, and other objects all over the world in order to solve puzzles and reach areas not accessible. You get confetti by hitting flowers and trees and other decor scattered throughout the world. It's actually quite interesting how they made this mechanic such a big part of the gameplay and even included it in the achievements that are part of each section of the world. I quite often found myself getting caught up in making sure I filled in every piece of confetti throughout the game. Also found throughout Paper Mario the Origami King are collectible treasures, which are basically trophies that refer to certain objects, buildings, and things of note in the story. These collectibles also show up in the museum that opens up eventually in Toad Town, and is another part of the game that adds a great amount of replay value for those that are into completionism. Now let's get into the combat system of Paper Mario on the Switch. This has been a polarizing topic of discussion amongst people I've spoken to about the game recently. It's done in a completely different style. You engage in combat on the world like previous Mario games where you run into enemies on the actual playing field. However, the actual combat is done in the form of wave battles with a ring setup that asks you to line the enemies up to hit as many of them in sequential order at once. You're limited in the amount of ring moves used to line the enemies up, and this factors into how well the outcome of your next 2 rounds of moves will come into play. The battle system opens up once sliding is involved. This is when multiple enemies are on the same ring level, and it's almost like a slight puzzle element to the combat system. You're awarded with a higher attack power bonus if you correctly line the characters up on the battlefield. It took me a while to get used to this concept and figure it out, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. You're timed during your round to make your moves before your turn is ended promptly, so hurry up. After you get through the first part of the game, you learn that you can get Toads to cheer for you in the audience, which is similar to previous Paper Mario games. However, this time they change it up a bit. You find Toads scattered throughout the world, you give them coins and they can provide items, switch enemies around, and give you other benefits. And trust me, this definitely helps you out with figuring out some of the core mechanics of battle. Eventually you get a Toad radar that can help you even find these hidden Toads. There's other accessories you can buy that are scattered throughout the world as well, such as a hidden block accessory and other ones that help you on your journey of collecting and finding everything. One thing to note, there's no leveling up in this game. When you finish a battle, you given rewards for coin bonuses for solving the puzzle of lining up the enemies and how long it took you to complete the battle. Coins have a much bigger part of gameplay in this version of Paper Mario, as they're used to buy the items you need to heal and to battle with, as well as the toad cheering mechanic. There's also no more flower power for magic attacks. In fact, the battle system's completely different. Mario's attacks are solely jump attacks with the various boots you can equip, and hammer attacks with the various hammers you get in the game. You're able to fill out a few slots of each depending on what you have in your inventory. The items do break, however, so there's a degree in challenging gameplay, but this also forces you to have to battle to earn coins, especially since the toads eat those coins up. If there was anything I had to complain about the game as a whole, it's this concept that the weapons break. It's easy to forget to change out your weaker items for newer, stronger ones, and once you find yourself fighting spiked enemies and others that are a bit more challenging, it becomes a pain in the butt in my opinion, but it's doable if you keep at it. The other thing I could understand as a letdown is the lack of experience being given after rounds. Because this lack of experience is not being rewarded, it often caused me to want to avoid getting into battles in this game. But I quickly learned that earning coins was important to be able to defeat some of the enemies later on, such as the bosses, because the toad cheering helps you out in the long run. Now, the one stat that is upgradable in this game is your HP. Every so often, you will find a new heart piece that will increase it and also allow Mario to one-hit kill various enemies on the actual world map when you attack them. So, you skip the battles entirely. Outside of combat, Paper Mario on Switch is a beautiful game. I know the whole concept of flat characters and basic shapes of buildings might turn some people off, but I've always felt that this look was great, and I still to this day love it. This game is absolutely charming and continues to remind me why the Paper Mario series is one that always melts my heart when I look at it. The dialogue, the graphics, the music, everything is classic vintage Paper Mario. All the enemies and characters from the Mario series are both in flat paper mode and origami mode, and looking at them in the battle sequences is a pure joy. Origami Goombas, who wouldn't love that? There are also what are called the big paper macho enemies. For example, there's huge Goombas and other ones with huge weak points that chase after you. These were fun little aversions to the basic combat in the game because these happened in the actual real-time world of the game in the form of obstacles and roadblocks. While exploring, there's a lot you can do. Lots of Easter eggs are found throughout this game that even reference other Nintendo franchises such as Metroid, Donkey Kong, Zelda, and more. Lots of fan service has been provided in this game and I love it. Mario is able to use a variety of pipes to travel back and forth between locations and even use fax travel via fax machines to travel quicker between locations. You can rest on benches to get energy, and you can even fish. Fishing in a Paper Mario game. I'm sold. Sure, this game might not be the big fantastic RPG that everyone wanted. Sure, it might have changed up the way the battle system and experience system works from previous games in the Paper Mario franchise, but you know what? I'm fine with that. I knew not even 1 hour in this that this was hands down one of the best Switch games I've played in years and had an absolute blast. It featured just the right amount of content and time put into it. It didn't feature heavy grinding because this game seemed catered more to a casual type of gamer. It wasn't very combat focused, and this allowed more room for exploration and taking in the scene and looking at the amount of attention and personality put into this world. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the 1000 Year Door, and that's easily in my top 5 greatest video games of all time, but Paper Mario for the Switch is by no means a bad game. I would say this is easily my second favorite game of the entire series because I enjoyed the variety of differences this game brought. At no time did any part of this game feel like filler to me, which is one complaint I do have about more longer RPG games in general that require a bit of grinding. Everything felt like it kept up at a good pace. The puzzles weren't abstract, there wasn't any really unnecessary fetch quest or out of the way side quest. It felt like there was a steady flow of story and action that didn't bore me at any time, and the times I did get lost, I would just use Olivia for a hint, the same way I did back on Ocarina of Time for my Nintendo 64 back in the day with Navi. Sure, the lack of experience makes battles seem utterly pointless, but it in no way hindered my overall experience with the game, which brought me to a colorful world with neat enemy design, memorable characters and moments, classic Paper Mario humor and dialogue, and interesting gameplay mechanics in the boss battles. And to me, that's more than enough for this iteration of Paper Mario. Gets a seal of approval from 8-Bit Eric. Check it out! Consider supporting 8-Bit Eric on Patreon for just $1 a month. Link below in the description. You want to become part of the hashtag 8BE Nation, guys? Well, be sure to pick up your official merch, now available online. Link is below in the description. We got classic t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, and even women's apparel. Don't forget, pick up your official merch now. And while you're at it, guys, feel free to watch the next video, or why don't you catch up on one that you might have previously missed. Thanks again, guys, for all the support. I couldn't do this without you. You guys are amazing, and don't forget to subscribe and click that like button if you are brand new. Thanks again, guys. Peace out.